So I recently bought a speaker from Five Below that was $5. It didn't sound very great. It sounded very poor, actually. The quality was absolutely terrible on it. It was $5, so I didn't care too much. But you can imagine, there's not a lot you can do with a poorly sounding speaker when your phone sounds better than the Bluetooth speaker itself. Basically, what I did was I took the speaker out of its old housing and put it into this other speaker I got. So for a project like this, you're going to need three things. You're going to need a Bluetooth module, probably from a speaker that you would pick up from Five Below or some other place that sells cheap Bluetooth speakers. A cheap used speaker. I got this one. It was a computer speaker. I got it from Goodwill. It was new in box. I got lucky. It doesn't have to be new in box. You can get another cheap one. They're only like 10 bucks there, usually. There's plenty of thrift stores with used speakers. Now, the battery that was in it before was pretty small, and it can't support the giant speaker inside. It has enough voltage, but it doesn't have enough life. Like, it only lasts about 5 minutes inside this speaker. I replaced it with something of a more viable size. You can get batteries like this from just about anywhere. You can get these from Amazon new, you can get them from eBay used, you can get batteries like this from RC cars. Anything that's a 3.7 lithium ion battery will probably do the trick just fine. There's always the second option of using some of these AA holders. Of course, this wouldn't be enough power. It's 3 volts and it requires 3.7, so it would be relatively enough. It might be a little quieter than it usually would be if it was running off 3.7, but it will work. However, AA's do die relatively fast, especially when it's under the correct voltage, which, like I said before, not the worst problem. It'll just be a little bit quieter. In fact, you can build a step-up transformer for that. But you should probably get multiple of these battery holders just to be safe. I would recommend using 3 of them if they hold 2 AA's, and 2 of them if they hold 3 AA's. So about 6 AA's in total. Let me show you how I wired this up. So it's not the best wiring, but it works well enough and nothing rattles around, so it's an overall pretty easy build for if you're studying electronics, in my opinion. Now you can see the upgraded battery I was talking about earlier, and I might even upgrade it with 2 of these cells because it's not quite enough power sometimes. This speaker lasts an hour to an hour and a half, which isn't too bad, but I would like it to last longer. So if we add another one, we might be able to get a little bit longer life out of it. In terms of speakers, this is the original speaker from the computer speakers, and it is 4 ohms and 3 watts. So a pretty decent speaker, still way better than what was in it before. For reference, here's the speaker the Bluetooth speaker came with, and here's what came in the computer speakers, which I now use. Now, this speaker is so cheap. If you look on the back, I had to scrape some film off here. There is no ohm or watt rating on it whatsoever. So back to the DIY speaker here, you can see there's 3 wires sticking out, a red, a black, and a blue one. Those used to be LEDs, which I thought were unnecessary and I cut off. So if you get a speaker with LEDs, you can just cut them off, and it should work just fine without them. In terms of assembly, I did have to drill a couple holes in the plastic, and I messed up a couple times. However, it's still a very easy beginner project. If you look on the front housing here, you can see I put a piece of duct tape and wrote the channel name on it, and that's because I messed up cutting the holes so bad I had to cover it up with a piece of duct tape, which is a small cosmetic loss, but overall functionality is much better than it was before in the old speaker. For reference, this speaker is about 10 times more powerful than the old one. Now, even though these boards are cheap, they do usually come with a built-in amp. If you want to attempt this project with using a Bluetooth board from an old pair of headphones, you may need to build a separate amp circuit or buy one off Amazon. The price of an amp circuit on Amazon is $5, so you'll still be under $50 for the speaker build. Now, this speaker is relatively small, and that's because making it any bigger and still battery powered would be an issue, and the cost would be a lot more than it is now. However, building a speaker that's Bluetooth just like this, only wired, is not much more difficult. The only difference would be, instead of having 3.7 volts in a battery, you would need a 3 to 4 volt charger or power supply of some sort, and a larger speaker like this one. Now, believe it or not, there are 2 of these, and I did have them hooked up to a Bluetooth module at one point. However, I accidentally ripped the contact points off of the Bluetooth board. So until I get another Bluetooth board or find some type of other amp, I cannot use these speakers wirelessly. Now, as I don't want to tear the Bluetooth speaker back apart, I do not want to test the audio quality compared to this speaker and this speaker. However, I was lucky enough to find a pair of these speakers, the computer ones, so I do have 2 of these drivers, so we will be doing an audio test. Okay, so we're going to be testing the Five Below speaker first, using, you guessed it, the Stylophone. So you can tell that this speaker is much better than this one. Anyways, that'll be the end of this video, guys, so I'll see you guys in the next one.